There is a particular kind of fatigue that doesn't look like collapse. It looks like strain. The kind that settles in when a person continues to work, continues to pay, continues to comply, while something underneath no longer feels aligned. The machine keeps moving. Headlines cycle. Court documents surface in fragments. Media attention swells around certain stories and barely touches others. And then tax season approaches, and families prepare to transfer money into systems they increasingly question. And yet public life hums with the appearance of stability. What unsettles people is not that corruption exists. Corruption has always existed. What unsettles them is the growing separation between exposure and consequence. We see institutional inconsistencies in real time, but accountability does not always follow visibility. When justice feels irregular or appears irregular, trust thins. Justice is more than punishment. It's a signal. It communicates that order still exists, that no one stands entirely above consequence. And without that signal, participation begins to feel hollow. Responsibility continues, but confidence in the structure weakens. It would be naive to ignore that perception has long been studied and shaped. Governments have researched propaganda and used it. Media institutions operate on incentives that reward emotional engagement over clarity. Technology platforms amplify outrage more efficiently than nuance. Information now moves at the scale that human nervous systems were never built to process. And it feels destabilizing. It destabilizes trust without physical force. And this does not require theatrical conspiracies to be corrosive. It requires misaligned incentives, concentrated power, and flawed human nature operating inside accelerated systems. The result is not always panic. Actually, more often, it is erosion. You begin to sense that responsibility is rigid at one level and negotiable at another. You continue to show up, but internally something feels misaligned. That is not apathy. It is dissonance, the strain of living responsibly inside structures that appear structurally misaligned with justice. And the deeper problem is not that systems fail. It is that we quietly ask them to carry more than they were designed to hold. Politics was never meant to deliver righteousness. Institutions were never meant to guarantee security. Spectacle was never meant to anchor belonging. Media was never meant to provide moral clarity. They are finite systems, functional, transactional, self-preserving. When we attach identity and hope to what is finite, its fragility becomes our own. History has seen this before. Christ was executed under legitimate authority. Religious leaders acted within their framework to preserve stability. Political authorities prioritized order. Legal procedures were followed. From the empire's perspective, the system functioned. From eternity's perspective, injustice was revealed. Systems protect continuity. Truth disrupts continuity. When disruption threatens stability, stability defends itself. That pattern is not ancient trivia, it's human reality. The resurrection did not dismantle Rome. Rome continued. Taxes continued. Spectacle continued. What changed was allegiance. And that distinction matters now. If visible accountability were restored in high places, it would matter deeply. Justice is oxygen. Without it, society suffocates. But oxygen is not the cure for spiritual misalignment. Even clear accountability cannot stabilize a culture that has anchored its identity into spectacle and power. Participation in systems is unavoidable. Dependence on them is not. When hope is anchored in what is finite, institutional fragility destabilizes the soul. When allegiance is ordered elsewhere, fragility exposes limits without collapsing interior order. This is not a call to withdraw, nor is it a call to blindly trust. It is a call to disciplined realignment. The machine will continue to hum. Structures will protect themselves. Justice may appear unevenly. The decisive question is not whether corruption exists. It's whether the soul remains anchored to what cannot be shaken. That is the contest unfolding quietly beneath the noise.